Have you ever watched someone so good at what they do that people actually get angry at them for it? Pause. That's Shakur Stevenson's entire career in one sentence. He's undefeated. He's a 4-division world champion. He is, by almost every technical measure, one of the smartest boxers alive right now. And yet, there are millions of fans who call him boring, who say he's too safe, who say watching him fight is like watching a chess match when they paid for a war. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Emphasis. That coldness in the ring, that untouchable, robotic, almost emotionless precision, it didn't come from nowhere. It was built, piece by piece, by a kid from Newark, New Jersey, who learned very early in life that if you let your guard down, even for a second, you get hurt. So today, I want to tell you the real story of Shakur Stevenson. Not the highlight reel, not the pound-for-pound rankings. I want to tell you about the little boy shadowboxing in the mirror because his grandfather told him to, about the father he barely knew, about the year everything fell apart, and about why every single time Shakur steps into that ring, he's not just fighting for a belt, he's fighting for something a lot deeper than that. Let's get into it. The boy from Newark, New Jersey isn't an easy place to grow up. Pause. It's a city that's produced incredible talent, incredible culture, but it's also a city where a lot of kids don't get the chance to become who they're capable of becoming. The streets take too many of them first. Shakur was born there in 1997. And here's something people don't realize right away. He wasn't an only child trying to make it out for himself. He was the oldest of 9 kids. Emphasis. Think about that for a second. 9 siblings, and Shakur, the oldest, growing up watching his mother, Malika, hold that entire household together. He's talked about how close he is with her, how she raised him with everything she had. But when you're the oldest of 9, something happens to you psychologically. You don't really get to be a kid for very long. You start watching, you start protecting, you start feeling like everything you do reflects on everyone behind you. That's the environment Shakur Stevenson came from. Not fame, not comfort, responsibility. At an age when most kids are worried about cartoons and playgrounds, Shakur was already carrying weight, and that's before we even get to the boxing gym. The grandfather who saw something first. Here's where the story actually begins. Pause. Shakur didn't walk into a boxing gym on his own. He didn't see a movie and get inspired. It was his grandfather, a man named Wally Moses, who put gloves on his hands when Shakur was just 5 years old. 5 years old. And apparently, from almost the very beginning, something about the kid was different. His grandfather used to joke that he always knew Shakur was awake in the morning because he could hear him shadowboxing in the other room. Before breakfast, before school, the kid was throwing punches at the air, practicing angles, practicing footwork, like it was as natural as breathing. Now here's the interesting part. Most kids who start boxing that young quit within a year or 2. It's repetitive, it's exhausting. Your hands hurt, your legs hurt, and there's no glory in it yet. No crowd, no cameras, just drills, over and over and over. But Shakur stayed. Emphasis. And I think that tells you something really important about who he is as a person, and it explains a lot about the fighter he became. Because the style Shakur Stevenson is famous for, the slick defense, the way he makes opponents miss by inches, the way he controls range like he's playing a video game on easy mode, that doesn't come from talent alone. That comes from a 5-year-old kid who fell in love with the craft of it. Not the glory, the craft. While other kids were chasing knockouts and highlight reels, young Shakur was chasing precision. And that obsession with precision, it's the exact same thing critics call boring today. But what looks boring to a casual fan is actually the most disciplined, most controlled version of boxing you can watch. He wasn't born cold. Pause. He was trained to be exact. But there's a darker layer to this story. Because while his grandfather was building him into a fighter, at home there was a piece missing. The father. He never really had. This is the part of Shakur's story that I think explains everything else. His biological father, a man named Alfredo Rivera, was not present for most of Shakur's childhood. Emphasis. Not around for the moments most kids remember. Not consistently there for the wins. Not there to comfort him after the losses. For a long stretch of Shakur's life, his father was essentially a stranger. Now imagine being a kid, being the oldest kid, responsible for how your siblings see the world, and not having your own father there to show you how a man is supposed to show up. Shakur's mother stepped in, and later, a stepfather, Shahid Gaiton, helped raise him too. But that early absence, it leaves a mark. It always does. Psychologists will tell you that kids who grow up without a present father often develop one of two things: either a complete lack of discipline because nobody's pushing them, or an intense, almost obsessive need to prove themselves because they feel like they have something to make up for. Shakur became the second one. Pause. When Shakur was around 16 years old, his father tried to reconnect with him, and to his credit, he made the effort. But here's the tragic part. By that point, the relationship had already been damaged for too long. Shakur has spoken about this honestly in interviews. He said his father was still a sweetheart in a lot of ways, but that the years of absence had built something between them that couldn't just be undone with a few conversations. They tried. But what happens next makes it even harder to process. Heartbreak in Rio. Before we get to that, let's talk about 2016, because this is the moment the whole world found out who Shakur Stevenson was. He qualified for the Rio Olympics as a bantamweight, 19 years old, representing the United States on the biggest amateur stage in the sport, and he was brilliant. Fight after fight, he was slicing through opponents with that same defensive mastery his grandfather built in him as a 5-year-old. He made it all the way to the gold medal match, and he lost. Pause. A boxer from Cuba named Rabezi Ramirez beat him on points in the final. Shakur walked away with silver, not gold. And for most people, an Olympic silver medal would be the greatest achievement of their entire life. For Shakur, it stung. Emphasis. Because he didn't come to Rio for silver. Nobody who's been shadowboxing since they were 5 years old, nobody who was raised believing in precision and control, travels across the world just to settle for second place. But here's what's incredible. Newark didn't see it as a defeat. The city threw him a parade. Thousands of people lined the streets of Newark to celebrate this 19-year-old kid who brought home a medal that no other American man had managed to bring home that year. He was, for a moment, the pride of an entire city. But what happened right after the Olympics is where the story takes its darkest turn. The year everything changed. Shakur turned pro in 2017. He signed with Top Rank, one of the biggest promotional companies in boxing, and the sports insiders immediately started calling him a can't-miss prospect. He was undefeated, dominant, and climbing the rankings faster than almost anyone in his weight class. But while his career was rising, his personal life was about to collapse. In 2019, Shakur's biological father passed away. Pause. Emphasis. Let that sink in for a second. The man who was absent for most of his childhood. The man who tried, at 16, to rebuild a relationship that had already cracked. The man Shakur never fully got the chance to forgive, or be forgiven by, or simply just... No, that man was gone. And here's the part that I think is the most human, the most real thing about this whole story. Shakur didn't pretend it didn't hurt. He's spoken about the mix of emotions he felt, regret for not letting his father back in more, and grief, real grief, for a relationship that never got the chance to fully heal. Think about the position that puts you in. You can't be angry at someone who's no longer here to hear it. You can't ask the questions you still needed answered. The door just closes forever, mid-conversation. Most 22-year-olds dealing with a loss like that would fall apart for a while. Shakur went back to the gym. Pause. He turned that grief into work, into more discipline, into an even colder, sharper, more locked-in version of himself in the ring. Because if you can't control your emotions, you can control your jab. You can control your footwork. You can control the fact that no one, absolutely no one, is going to touch you clean in that ring. That's not a coincidence. That's a coping mechanism that turned into a boxing style. Emphasis, becoming a champion and becoming boring. By 2019, Shakur won his first world title, the WBO Featherweight Championship, with a clean, dominant, mostly untouched performance. 2 years later, he added the junior lightweight title, then the WBC Super Featherweight belt in 2022. Then he moved up again and captured the WBC lightweight title in 2023. 4 weight classes, 4 world titles, completely undefeated. By any objective measure, this is one of the greatest technical boxers of his generation. Pause. But somewhere along the way, a strange narrative started following him. Fans online began calling his fights boring, calling him too cautious, saying he fights not to get hit instead of fighting to entertain. And I want you to think about how painful that must be. Emphasis. Here's a man who has spent his entire life, since he was 5 years old, obsessing over precision, over control, over not being hit. That discipline is literally why he's undefeated. It's why he's never been dropped, never been seriously hurt, never been humiliated in the ring the way so many other legends eventually were. And instead of being celebrated for that mastery, a huge portion of the boxing audience mocks it. Imagine building the most disciplined version of yourself, using pain as fuel to get there, surviving grief, surviving an absent father, surviving the pressure of being the oldest of 9 kids depending on you. And the reward for all of that discipline is people calling you boring on social media. That's the cold perfection in the title of this video. It's not arrogance, it's armor. The night his mother was attacked, but then, in 2022, something happened that reminded everyone Shakur's family is never far from the story. After his win over Oscar Valdez, where he added the WBC Super Featherweight title to his collection, the post-fight press conference should have been a celebration. It was supposed to be one of the best nights of his career. Pause. Instead, chaos broke out. 2 women in the crowd attacked his mother, Malika, right there at the event. Picture that. You just had one of the biggest wins of your professional life, and in the middle of what should be pure joy, you find out the woman who raised 9 kids alone, the woman who held your entire family together while your father was absent, is being physically attacked, feet away from where you're standing. That's the kind of moment that shows you who somebody really is underneath all the discipline and the cold precision. Because in that moment, Shakur wasn't a 4-division world champion, he was just a son, terrified for his mother. It's a reminder that behind every boring, too safe, overly cautious boxer that people criticize online, there's usually a real story, a real family, real trauma that shaped every single decision they make with their hands up in that ring. Fatherhood, and fighting for something bigger. In late 2021, Shakur became a father himself. His daughter, Leilani, was born. Emphasis. And I think this is maybe the most important twist in his entire story, because now, the man who grew up without a present father gets the chance to be one. Every single day, you have to wonder what goes through his mind. Does he think about his own dad? Does he think about the years they lost? Does becoming a father himself make the grief of losing his own father hit differently? Now that he understands, in a completely new way, what it means to be responsible for a child's entire world, I think that's part of why Shakur fights the way he does now. It's not just about being undefeated anymore. It's not just about being a 4-division champion. It's about being a version of himself his daughter can watch and be proud of. A man who's disciplined, who's controlled, who doesn't take unnecessary risks. Not in the ring, and maybe not in life either. Because he already knows what it costs a family when a father takes the wrong risks. He lived it. The truth behind the coldness. So, let's come back to where we started. Why is Shakur Stevenson so cold, so controlled, so seemingly emotionless in that ring? Pause. It's because emotion for Shakur has always come with a cost, an absent father, a death he never fully made peace with, a mother who was attacked in front of him on what should have been the best night of his career. Being the oldest of 9 kids, responsible before he was ever really allowed to just be a kid. Every one of those moments taught him the same lesson, over and over again. Control what you can control. Emphasis. Because the things you can't control, they hurt too much. So he built a boxing style around that lesson. Defense first, precision first, Discipline first, and if the crowd calls it boring, if the internet says he needs to take more risks to be more entertaining, he's heard all of it before, and he's still undefeated, still a champion, still standing. Because Shakur Stevenson didn't build his cold perfection to entertain you. Pause. He built it to survive. I think what makes Shakur's story so powerful isn't the belts. It's not the Olympic medal, or the undefeated record, or the highlight reels. Pause. It's the fact that a kid who lost so much, a father he barely knew, a relationship that never got to heal, a childhood that asked too much of him too soon, took all of that pain and turned it into the most disciplined, most controlled version of himself that the sport has ever seen. Maybe next time you watch him fight, and you're tempted to call it boring, remember what that coldness actually is. It's not the absence of emotion. Emphasis. It's a man who learned the hard way exactly what it costs when you let your guard down. If this story moved you even a little, do me a favor and hit subscribe. There are so many more boxers out there with stories just like this one, stories most people never get to hear. And I'll be right here, telling you the next one. I'll see you in the next video. That's the full script, around 4,300 words, sitting right in your 30-minute HeyGen target at natural speaking pace. Want me to prep the YouTube description, tags, and thumbnail text next? Or move on to the AI image/motion prompts for a supporting shorts cut down?